for the AMC AMX of 1978. See AMC Concord for 1979-1980. See AMC Spirit. The AMC AMX is a two-seat GT-style sports car that was produced by American Motors Corporation for the 1968 through 1970 model years. The AMX was also classified as a muscle car, but unique among other American cars at the time due its short wheelbase. The AMX was also the only American-built steel-bodied two-seater of its time. The first since the 1955 to 1957 Ford Thunderbird. To a degree, the AMX was a competitor with America's only other two-seater of the era, the Chevrolet Corvette, for substantially less money. With a 1-inch, 2.5 centimeters, shorter wheelbase than Chevrolet's two-seater, the AMX was often seen by the press as a Corvette competitor. Fitted with the optional high-compression medium-block 390 cu in 6.4L AMC V8 engine, the AMX offered top-notch performance at an affordable price. In spite of this value and enthusiastic initial reception by automotive media and enthusiasts, sales never thrived. However, the automaker's larger objectives to refocus AMC's image on performance and to bring younger customers into its dealer showrooms was achieved. After 3 model years, the two-seat version was discontinued, and the AMX's now signature badging was transferred to a high-performance version of its 4-seat sibling, the Javelin. From the 1971 to 1974 model years, American Motors capitalized the respected reputation of the original AMXs by reviving the model designation for performance-equipped coupe versions of the compact Hornet in 1977, Concord in 1978, and the subcompact Spirit in 1979 and 1980. Origin of the AMX. The AMX name originates from the American Motors experimental code used on a concept vehicle and then on 2 prototypes shown on the company's Project IV automobile show tour in 1966. One was a fiberglass 2-seat AMX, and the other was a 4-seat AMX2. Both of these radically styled offerings reflected the company's strategy to shed its economy car image and appeal to a more youthful, performance-oriented market. The original AMX full-scale models were developed in 1965 by AMC's Advanced Styling Studios under the direction of Charles Mushigan. The two-seat AMX was a big hit on the auto show circuit in 1966, and featured a rumble seat that opened out from the rear deck for extra passengers called a ramble seat. AMC executives saw the opportunity to change consumers' perceptions of the automaker from Romney's economy car image to the realities of the new marketplace interested in sporty, performance-oriented vehicles. Robert B. Evans requested a car like the AMX to be put into production quickly. 2 simultaneous development programs emerged for a production car. One for a modified Javelin and another for a completely new car bodied in fiberglass. The first approach was selected, allowing AMC to use its existing technology and unibody manufacturing expertise to make fairly inexpensive modifications to the Javelin approximating the prototype's styling and proportions. The automaker could turn out steel bodies in large numbers, so it rejected developing plastic or fiberglass bodies because those are intended only for low production models. The first fully operational unit debuted as part of AMC's AMX project in 1966. The once frumpy automaker jumped on the pony car bandwagon with its attractive Javelin, and soon introduced the unique AMX, featuring a design where hoods didn't come any longer, nor decks any shorter. Vic Raviolo, previously responsible for the Lincolns that raced in the Carrera Panamericana during the 1950s, was involved with engineering AMC's new sports car type coupe. The AMX was the first steel-bodied, two-seat American performance car since the 1957 Thunderbird, Ford's original two-seater, having long since evolved into a four-seat personal luxury car. The AMX was also the only mass-produced domestic two-seater to share the market with Chevrolet's Corvette since the 1957 Thunderbird, with a short 97 in 2,464 mm wheelbase. The AMX's direct competition was the 1-inch longer 98 in 2,489 mm Chevrolet Corvette. The AMX's manufacturer's suggested retail price, MSRP, was $3,245, $22,836 in 2017 dollars, nearly 25% below and over $1,000 less than the Corvette's price tag. The AMX was introduced to the press at the Daytona International Speedway on 15 February 1968, just over 4 months after the Javelin went on sale. In the demonstrations on the racetrack, the new AMXs ran at speeds up to 130 miles per hour, 209 kilometers per hour. American Motors Group Vice President Vic Raviolo described the AMX as the Walter Mitty Ferrari. The AMX was designed to appeal to both muscle car and sports car enthusiasts, two camps that rarely acknowledged each other's existences. The problem was the tire melting. Acceleration of the two-seater made it a quick car that handled like a sports car, confusing the buying public. Automotive journalist Tom McCahill summed up, "The AMX is the hottest thing to ever come out of Wisconsin, and you can whip through corners and real hard bends better than with many out-and-out sports cars." Record-breaking. In January 1968, two specially prepared AMXs set 106 world speed and endurance records at Goodyear's track in Texas, driven by world land speed record holder Craig Breedlove, his wife Lee, and Ron Dykes. As a way to promote the new car, AMC's performance activities manager, Carl Chakmakian, asked Breedlove to put the AMX through its paces before it was even available for sale. Breedlove's Spirit of America crew and Traco Engineering had 6 weeks to prepare the cars before they were to be displayed at the Chicago Auto Show in February. The AMC V8 engines, such as the 290 cu in 4.8L engine in one car, was bored out to 304 cu in 5.0L, and the 390 cu in 6.4L in the other to 397 cu in 6.5L. The shop installed exhaust headers, 8-quart oil pans, oil coolers, high-rise intake manifolds, racing camshafts with solid lifters and stronger springs, and larger carburetors. The cars had engine and rear-end oil coolers, and 37 US gal, 140 L, 31 imp gal, cell-type safety fuel tanks. Engine components were X-rayed and magnifluxed to check for cracks, as were chassis components. Chassis preparation included heavy-duty front and rear springs, part of the factory's optional handling package, rear spring traction control arms, heavy-duty shock absorbers, and a panhard-type track bar in the rear to eliminate side sway. Stock wheels and tires were replaced by wide magnesium racing wheels and Goodyear racing tires. The cars were aerodynamically modified. The front ends were lowered, The hoods were slanted down and spoilers were installed below the front bumpers. The car interiors had structure-stiffening roll cages for driver protection, a stock bucket seat modified for additional support, and supplementary engine monitoring instruments. Breedlove also took the AMX to Bonneville, reaching 189 miles per hour, 304 kilometers per hour, in a United States Auto Club (USAC) sanctioned run, as well as an unofficial run of over 200 miles per hour, 322 kilometers per hour. Industry firsts. The AMX was not only sporty and attractive, but it introduced many industry firsts. The American Society of Automotive Engineers named the AMX as the best engineered car of the year in 1969 and 1970. For its first-year recognition, the reasons cited included the car's dashboard, which was injection molded in one piece for safety purposes. An industry first, the AMX's new 390 cu in 6.4L engine was developed to have a large displacement within its minimal external dimensions and moderate weight, while the use of common components and machining with AMC's 290 and 343 engines assured manufacturing economy. The 1968 models also included an innovative fiberglass safety padding, plastic, on the inside of the windshield posts that was first used on the AMC Javelins. For the following year's award, the citation included the 1970 AMXs and Javelins, being the first production cars to use windshields that were safer, thinner, and lighter than ordinary laminated glass. Developed by Corning, the glass featured a chemically hardened layer designed to give under impact and crumble into small granules to reduce injuries. The inner layer has stress razors that will cause it to break before excessively high concussion forces can be developed in the occupant's skull. American Motors also incorporated new designs for windshield sealing for the 1970 models, and developed a systems solutions process that began in the styling studio to ensure maximum efficiency. 1968. American Motors promoted the mid-model year launch of the AMX to automotive journalists at Daytona to emphasize its sports car performance, as well as with a marketing agreement with Playboy Enterprises to introduce the AMX to its dealers. AMC held meetings at 9 Playboy clubs. The AMX was introduced to the public on the 24th of February 1968. 5 months after the Javelin and other 1968 AMC cars. It was promoted as the only American sports car that costs less than $3,500. American Motors advertisements also showed a helmeted race driver revving up at the starting line in one of AMC's sporty AMX models, which it describes as ready to do 125 miles an hour. The two-seat AMX was meant for a small, well-defined market niche, and it pulled in young people into AMC dealer showrooms in never-before-seen numbers. Numerous road tests described the new AMX as a handsome two-seater with American-style acceleration and European-style handling. Journalists gave it a real run workout on all kinds of terrain and wrote that the AMX is one of the best-looking cars, if not the best-looking car, made in the USA. All AMXs came with 4-barrel carbureted small-block AMC V8 engines in several versions. 290 cu in 4.8L, 225 horsepower, 168 kilowatts. Encode 343 cu in 5.6L, 290 horsepower, 220 kilowatts. T-code, as well as the 390 cu in 6.4L, AMX, featuring 315 horsepower, 235 kilowatts, with 425 pound-force feet, 576 Nm of torque. Xcode, all derived from the same external-sized block. However, the three engines differed vastly internally, with the smallest engine having small intake and exhaust valves, thin block webbing, and a cast nodular iron crankshaft. The 343 used larger valves with a thicker block webbing, and the 390 moved up to a forged steel crankshaft and connecting rods, as well as larger rod bearings, 2.250 in, 57.15 mm, compared to 2.090 in, 53.09 mm. In the smaller two versions, a Borg-Warner T10 4-speed manual transmission was standard, as were special traction bars, dual exhaust system, and fatter tires for better traction. A shift command 3-speed automatic transmission with the capability of manual shifting. Borg-Warner model M11B or M12 was optional together with a floor console-mounted shifter. A popular Go package option came with either the 4-barrel 343 or 390 engine, and included power-assisted front disc brakes, twin grip differential, E70X14 red stripe performance tires on Magnum 500 styled steel wheels, heavy-duty suspension with thicker sway bars, heavy-duty cooling, and other performance enhancements. A wide range of specialized performance parts were also available through AMC dealers for installation on customers' cars. These were known as Group 19 parts because of the way AMC organized its parts books. Breedlove AMX. According to several sources, Breedlove replica cars to commemorate the speed and endurance records were offered by AMC. The standard catalog of American muscle cars 1960 to 1972 describes an estimated 50 Breedlove AMXs were sold featuring the red, white, and blue paint scheme along with a standard 4-barrel 290 cu in 4.8L V8 with 4-speed manual transmission. However, AMC historians argue there was no factory literature, order sheets, advertising, photographs, or anything else to properly document any factory 1968 or 1969 Breedlove replica AMXs. According to historians, a new car that was ordered by a dealer in Canada could not have been painted at the factory, but rather outsourced to local Kenosha body shops to perform the final painting. Hertz Rent-A-Racer. In the late 1960s, the Hertz Corporation offered Rent-A-Racer program in selected locations that included cars such as Corvettes, Jaguar XKS, Shelby Mustangs, and AMXs. Von Piranha Edition. An estimated 22 new AMXs were modified by Thoroughbred Motors in Denver, Colorado for select AMC dealerships to have ready-made races for both the drag strips and road courses nearby. They were named Von Piranha, and the changes included the addition of 2 sets of air scoops on each C-pillar with ducts to cool the rear brakes and on the roof above the windshield that was reportedly functional to cool the cockpit on race-bred versions. The AMX's twin hood bulges were cut open to increase airflow in the engine bay. It is believed the original Piranha build-up included AMC's Group 19 R4B intake, stamped with a Von Piranha logo along with a 950 cm Holley 3-barrel carburetor. The sales manager at Thoroughbred at the time and local racing legend, Ronald Hunter, raced a Piranha at the Continental Divide raceways and other events. 1969. The AMX's full second model year saw only slight changes. except for a $52 increase in its base price. The 5-spoke Magnum 500 steel road wheels were no longer chrome-plated, but now came with a stainless steel trim ring. The racing stripes were now available in 5 colors. The interior featured a revised instrumentation with a 0 to 8,000 revolutions per minute tachometer moved to match the speedometer that was now calibrated to 140 miles per hour. 230 kilometers per hour. Interior door panels were revised. Carpeting was upgraded. New leather upholstery was optional, and the gas pedal became suspended. Later production cars received a hood over the instruments in front of the driver. Trunk capacity was 9.7 cubic feet. 275 L. Startung, January 1969. All manual transmission AMXs came with a Hurst floor shifter. The center console-mounted 3-speed shift command automatic remained optional with 1, 2, and D forward settings. The D mode was fully automatic, but the driver could shift manually through all 3 gears by starting out in the 1 setting for first gear with no upshift, and the 2 setting for second gear with no upshift. A Big Bad paint option for $34 became available starting in mid-1969. The neon brilliant blue, BBB, orange, BBO, and green, BBG. Exteriors included color-matched front and rear bumpers, as well as a special slim bright lower grille molding for the front bumper and 2 vertical rubber face-painted bumper guards for the rear. The factory-painted 1969 AMXs were 195 in BBB, 285 in BBO, and 283 in BBG. Popular Mechanics wrote that the 1969 AMX preserves the status quo this year, being virtually unchanged, remains an absolute delight to drive. California 500. A specially equipped version was sold by West Coast AMC dealers in 1969. The cars came with several options that included trendsetter sidewinder, side pipes and brass plaques on the hood blisters. Super Stock AMX. AMC also introduced the Super Stock AMX to maximize quarter-mile performance. The 390 engine was equipped with twin Holley carburetors and 12.3:1 compression ratio cylinder heads, plus aftermarket Doug's headers and exhaust system, and the tires were drag slicks. Hurst Performance carried out several additional modifications. American Motors rated the car at 340 horsepower, 250 kilowatts. But the National Hot Rod Association ultimately rated it at 420 horsepower, 310 kilowatts, and shuffled it among various competition classes, SSG, SSD, and SSC. Its best recorded quarter mile was 10.73 seconds at 128 miles per hour, 206 kilometers per hour. The Super Stock AMX was meant for the racetrack and lacked comfort equipment such as a heater. The car could be ordered all white, or in the vertical bands of red, white, and blue that distinguished numerous AMC competition cars of the day. Base price was $5,994, some $1,900 more than a fully loaded regular 1969 AMX. There was no factory warranty. Playmate AMX. Playboy magazine's 1968 Playmate of the Year, Angela Dorian, was awarded a specially painted Playmate Pink 1968 AMX. It was powered by the base 290 V8 with automatic transmission, air conditioning, tilt wheel, AM, 8-track radio and optional rear bumper guards. Aside from the unique color, It differed from other AMXs with its dashboard number plate containing Dorian's measurements, making her car AMX 362435. The car, currently owned by Mark Melvin, who purchased it from Dorian in 2010, was featured in an episode of Jay Leno's Garage. Some sources describe other AMXs to have been painted Playmate pink at the factory. AMC's marketing vice president, Bill McNeely, who handed over the keys to Angela Dorian's car, mentioned that a number of them were finished in pink. In late 1968, a Playmate pink AMX was special ordered by a dealership in rural Potosi, Missouri. This 1969 model year car's door tag indicates a 00 paint code, meaning a special order color, and it has a 390 V8 with automatic transmission, as well as the Performance Go package, air conditioning, and leather seats. Pikes Peak cars. The Pikes Peak International Hill Climb used 1969 AMXs as pace cars for the hill climb race to the summit of Pikes Peak that was held on 29 June 1969 in Colorado. The AMX pace and courtesy cars were used by racers, including Bobby Unser, to practice the week prior to the race up the mountain. There were 10 according to some sources, pace courtesy AMXs, and all were equipped with the 390 Go pack option and finished in frost white with red stripes and red interiors. A number of AMC and Jeep vehicles have participated in the annual race, winning class titles and setting records. But the only two-seat AMX that was officially raced in the hill climb was a 1969 model piloted by Larry G. Mitchell in the 1987 vintage class AMXR. The original AMX's Ramble seat idea was considered for possible production. A working prototype was built in 1968 from a regular AMX by James Jeffords, a designer customizer, and was named the AMXR. Jeffords was also head of the Javelin Trans-Am racing team for AMC. Together with industrial designer Brooke Stevens, they decided to also plush up the interior, add custom paint treatment and hood with Jeffords's name in badge form, as well as a modified suspension as part of their plan to offer an optional Ramble seat for 500 production cars. The first prototype was prepared by Dave Poole's House of Customs in Palatine, Illinois. However, numerous problems prevented serial production, including safety and product liability concerns. AMC's refusal to sell him the cars to modify, as well as the negative reaction from Ralph Nader to the exposed exterior seating idea. The AMXR's special blacked-out hood treatment would later to be offered as shadow mask option on 1970 AMX models. 1970 American Motors 1970 AMX advertising headlined, "We made the AMX look tougher this year because it's tougher this year." They were mildly facelifted, resembling the first two model years, but the changes were different enough to be a separate design for 1970. Featured was a new front-end design with a longer hood that had a power blister with two large openings. These were a functional cold ram air induction system with the popular Go package, available with the 360 and 390 engines. The new grille was flush and full width, incorporating the headlamps. The revised rear end also featured full-width tail lamps and a single center-mounted backup light. Side marker lights were now shared with several other AMC models. Riding on the same wheelbase 97-inch, 2,464 mm. As before, the changes increased the AMX's overall body length by about 2 inches, 51 mm, to 179 in. 4,547 mm. American Motors also changed the AMX's engine lineup for 1970 with the introduction of a new 360 cu in 5.9L, 4-barrel, 290 horsepower, 220 kilowatts, P-code, to replace the 343 V8. The smallest 290 was dropped and AMC could claim 65 more base horsepower than the AMXs had previously. The 390 V8 engine continued, but upgraded to new heads with 51cc combustion chambers that increased power to 325 horsepower, 242 kilowatts. The code remained X for the engine on the vehicle identification number VIN. The Go package was available with a 360 engine, including power front disc brakes, F70X14 raised white letter tires, handling package, and the Ram air induction system for $298.85. Or including the 390 engine for $383.90. Also new, the double wishbone front suspension had ball joints, upper and lower control arms, coil springs and shock absorbers above the upper control arms, as well as trailing struts on the lower control arms. The Magnum 500 road wheels were now standard, but the new machine 15 by 7-inch slot-styled wheels were optional. The interiors of the AMX were also redesigned. The broad wood-grained dashboard, center console, and two-spoke rim below steering wheel were new. Tall bucket seats now feature day clamshell design integrating the headrests. Leather upholstery was $34 extra. The exterior rear-view mirror featured a new design and in some cases matched the car's body color. The three Big Bad exterior paints continued to be optional on the 1970 AMXs, but they now came with regular chrome bumpers. A new shadow mask exterior finish applied over any available AMX color was a $52 option, which included a satin black painted hood, engine compartment, front fender tops, and side window surrounds offset by thin silver striping. The optional C-stripe was $32. The manufacturer's suggested retail price, MSRP, for the base model was $3,395, $21,394 in 2017 dollars. As AMC promoted the 1970 AMX as a sports car for the price of a sporty car, Motor Trend summed up a road test of a 1970 AMX with a 390 engine as one of better constructed cars around, described as the best version yet of this blend of muscle car and sports car. The 1970 model was also the last true AMX. Performance figures. Original road test of a 390 AMX by car and driver. 1968. 0 to 60 miles per hour equals 6.6 seconds. 0–100 miles per hour equals 16.3 seconds. Drag strip quarter-mile acceleration equals 14.8 seconds at 95 miles per hour. 153 kilometers per hour. Top speed equals 122 miles per hour. 196 kilometers per hour. Original road test of a 390 AMX by Motor Trend. December 1969. 0 to 60 miles per hour equals 6.56 seconds. Drag strip quarter-mile acceleration equals 14.68 seconds at 92 miles per hour. 148 kilometers per hour. In 1969, the TV show Car and Track posted the following times with an AMX 390 cu in 6.4L. running a standard 4-barrel carburetor in 10.2:1 compression ratio. 0 to 60 miles per hour acceleration equals 6.5 seconds. Drag strip quarter-mile acceleration equals 14.1 second. Racing. The AMC AMX, while not a Corvette, was a high-performance car with few equals. The cars were regular performers on drag strips around the country. Drivers included Shirley Shahan, better known as the Dragon Lady, and Lou Downey. National Hot Rod Association, NHRA, champion Wally Booth raced AMXs in both the Superstock and the Pro Stock classes. Herman Lewis, often described as the godfather of AMC racing, won 200 events in his hellacious red, white, and blue AMX. The 1968 and 1969 AMXs with AMC's 390 cu in 6.4L engines competing contemporary nostalgia superstock drag racing. Owners have also modified AMXs to compete in modern pro touring car racing. The Sports Car Club of America, SCCA, classed the AMX in B production for amateur competition, the same class as the Shelby GT 350. An AMX scored second place in the 1969 SCCA National Championship. Dwight Knupp drove his AMX just 1 minute and 14 seconds behind a Corvette's winning average of 102.385 miles per hour, 165 kilometers per hour. On the 30th of November 1969, at the Daytona International Speedway with 16 cars in the B production class, and placed 6th overall out of the total of 28 A and B class cars competing in the race. The two-seat AMX was never eligible for SCCA Trans Am competition. A 1969 AMX was entered in the 1971 and 1972 Cannonball Baker Seat Shining Sea Memorial Trophy Dash, an unofficial automobile race from New York City and Darien, CT, on the U.S. Atlantic East Coast, to Redondo Beach, a Los Angeles suburb on the Pacific West Coast. A team of enthusiastic brothers, Tom and Ed Brewerton, finished the 1971 competition in 5th place. They drove 2,897 miles, 4,662 kilometers, in 37 hours and 48 minutes at an average of 77.3 miles per hour, 124 kilometers per hour. With no speeding tickets, their AMX already had 90,000 miles, 144,841 kilometers on the odometer, and the brothers had previously taken it on numerous endurance rides, including a rocky ride the entire length of the Baja California Peninsula. They again entered their battle-scarred AMX one more time in the 1972 run. The brothers finished in 8th place, making the coast-to-coast outlaw race in 39 hours and 42 minutes at an average of 72.3 miles per hour, 116 kilometers per hour. Production. The two-seat AMX was built for 3 model years following its debut as a mid-year model on February 15, 1968. The first 1968 model year cars were scheduled to appear in dealer showrooms on March 19, 1968. AMC AMX model year production totals in the U.S. by engine and transmission. In 1969, American Motors showed the next generation AMX, 2 concept car in the automobile show circuit. As the two-seater AMX production ceased in 1970, AMC was developing a sophisticated European-engineered alternative, the AMX-3 for 1971 introduction. However, overall economic conditions changed, with spiraling inflation pushing sales of smaller cars along. with the insurance company's decision to penalize high-powered automobiles resulting in decreasing the sports-type car market segment. And the AMX was made into a high-performance model of the four-seat Javelin starting in 1971. Assembly in Australia. A total of 24 right-hand drive 1969 model year AMXs were hand-assembled under license in Australia by Australian Motor Industries, AMI, between August 1969 and July 1970. They used the name Rambler AMX as AMI produced the Rambler range of cars since October 1960. Complete knockdown CKD kits were shipped from Kenosha, Wisconsin to Army's facilities at Port Melbourne in Victoria. Differences to the RHD Australian AMXs, compared to the US models, included different outside rear-view mirrors, and black vinyl trim inside the AMX circle logo on the C-pillars. As with Rambler sedans built-in right-hand drive, windscreen wipers were not reversed, remaining LHD pattern, but the power brake booster and heater on the firewall were swapped over. Although the power steering pump remained in its usual left location, the remainder of the steering components were on the right side of the car. The cars came with 343 cu in, 5.6L, and automatic transmission, power steering, power disc brakes, twin grip, rear axle, and other items that were optional on the US models. All of the Australian AMX interiors were finished in black and featured unique seats, door panels, and a fiberglass RHD dashboard with a wood-grained instrument cluster in front of the driver. The Australian AMXs came with a large high level of equipment and were promoted as super personal luxury cars, concept and show cars. 1966 AMX. A concept car with a folding exposed rear seat was introduced by AMC at the 1966 Society of Automotive Engineers convention in Detroit. This was the first AMX, American Motors experimental, named car. The sports car design features a rumble seat for 2 additional passengers that was named Ramble seat, in homage to the automaker's predecessor Rambler models. This back seat folds into the trunk space and the rear window flips down. But these are not fully weatherproof designs. The roof design also has no A-pillars, providing for greater visibility. The fiberglass-bodied pushmobile concept has no interior, engine, drivetrain, or suspension. It was widely covered by the automotive media and appeared on several auto magazine covers. It was painted in orange or a metallic blue to be shown on the auto show circuit. It received positive reviews that convinced management to put the car into production. This 1966 AMX also gave rise to several other AMX show cars. AMXi, a fiberglass-bodied AMXi concept car, was made in 1966 to be part of AMC's Project IV exhibit, built by Smith in Land of Ionia, Michigan. One of the 2 fiberglass-bodied concept cars was reportedly destroyed in a crash test, convincing AMC's engineers and designers use a traditional steel body. The remaining domestic-built fiberglass prototype features round headlamps. American Motors President Roy Abernethy sanctioned the Turin coach builder Vignale to construct an operational car in steel. It was hand-built show car using a modified 1966 Rambler American chassis on a 98 in 2,489 mm wheelbase powered by a 290 cu in 4.8L V8 engine, delivered in 78 days and known as the AMX Vignale. It was first displayed at the 1966 New York International Auto Show. The Vignale car features a split V windshield, a cantilever-type roof that incorporates a built-in concealed roll bar, rectangular European-type headlamps, and a custom interior with full bucket seats flanking an aircraft-type console. The fully functional Ramble seat was operated by a push-button from inside the car. AMX2. Vince Gardner, an outside consultant, designed the fiberglass-bodied AMX2, a less radical two-door for the Project IV exhibit. This four-passenger hardtop, no B-pillar, notchback coupe had little in common with the AMXi. This car featured a longer wheelbase and an overall length of 187 in. 4,750 mm. The windshield wiper blades were concealed by a panel which raises when wipers are activated, and the grille that was surrounded by a massive bumper had horizontal multi-bars with hidden headlamps. Safety innovations included doors that locked automatically when the engine is started, reflectors on the sides of the rear fenders, rear tail lamps that signaled the driver's intentions, green when the car is in motion, amber when the driver removes foot from the accelerator, and red when braking. AMX GT. Developed for the 1968 Auto Show circuit, the AMX GT is a concept car based on a shortened and chopped Javelin with a camback rear end. The AMX GT show car provided several design clues to future production models and performance options. AMX 400. In the late 1960s, George Barris made bolt-on customizing kits for the AMX that were marketed through AMC dealers. He also performed a radical custom treatment on a 1969 AMX. The car was built for the second Banner-Check TV season episode. The car was lowered and its body was heavily modified. Its roof was cut down almost 5 in. 127 mm. And the car was lengthened by 18 in. 457 mm. Featuring a sculpted body with louvered accents. It became known as the AMX 400. The car featured a tail light system that glowed green during acceleration, amber during deceleration, and red during braking. AMX 3. A third-generation AMX concept car. The AMX 3 debuted at the 1970 Chicago Auto Show. Engine-less and fashioned in fiberglass. The original AMX 3 prototype was a show car only. American Motors placed an order for 30 operational cars. The AMX 3 body mold was sent to Italian Grand Tourer maker Giotto Bizzarini, whose Turin facility hand-made drivable mid-engined, steel-bodied cars, built on a 105.3-inch, 2,675 mm wheelbase. The Bizzarini prototypes used the AMC 390 cu in 6.4L V8 and an Italian OTOMLR, a 4-speed transaxle. The AMX-3 is considered one of Bizzarini's car masterpieces. The steel Italian cars differed from the original AMC design in having fewer but functional rear decollete louvers, louvered hoods, and, in some cases, hood scoops to direct fresh air into the heating EC system. Further engineering improvements and road testing was done by BMW, which declared the AMX-3's chassis one of the stiffest, having a 50% higher stiffness compared to a benchmark Mercedes-Benz model. The car's steel semi-monocoque chassis design with its welded-on steel body provided a strong overall structure, while the top speed was verified to 160 miles per hour, 257 kilometers per hour, with reports indicating the AMX-3 could go faster if it was not for the tendency for the front end to lift at those speeds. But BMW found the car to be most neutral handling they had ever tested. The BMW engineers also refined numerous components of the AMX 3 into a world-class contender among the mid-engine supercar elite of its time. One of the cars became known as the Monza after it achieved a top speed of 170 miles per hour in testing at the famed Italian racetrack. 5 completed cars were produced before the $2 million program was cancelled. The original projection by AMC called for building 5,000 AMX 3s per year, but the estimated retail price kept increasing. The AMX 3 was beautiful and sleek, the kind of car that would have made hearts race in the day, and was to be a flagship, a halo car, to lure customers to AMC dealerships, where they often end up other, more practical models. However, escalating costs and pending bumper regulations put a stop to the mid-engined AMX 3. Some remaining parts from the cancelled second group of 5 cars were used by erstwhile Bizzarrini collaborator Salvatore Diamante to assemble a 6th car, named and marketed as Sciabla. Additionally, an open 2-seat Spider featuring no weather protection was built in the 1990s using an unfinished AMX 3 modified chassis and the 7th AMX 3. On display at the Auto World Museum in Belgium, were both finished by Giorgio Giordanengo. 1971 Teague AMX. Sales of the 2-seat AMX were not up to the numbers that American Motors management wanted, but AMC's vice president for styling, Richard A. Teague, wanted to continue the sports model. American Motors' Advanced Design Studio made design proposals for a 1971 AMX, and Teague requested and received permission to produce a fully working concept car, starting with a frost white 1968 AMX Coupe as the development mule. Teague updated its front end to the grille and swooping front fenders of what was incorporated into the production 1971 Javelin. The concept car also featured the interior to what was to become AMC's characteristic high-backed bucket seats and corduroy upholstery introduced in 1970. The concept car was repainted light metallic blue with red striping to match the interior. A short wheelbase, 2-seat 1971 AMX was not approved for production by the automaker, but Teague used this car as his daily driver. Collectability. Automotive historian and author Richard Monsieur Langworth noted that the AMX has all the right sports car stuff, and that the little machine that can only go up in value over the long haul. Prior to 2004, the AMX had been underappreciated from an investment standpoint, according to CNN. In 2004, there was considerable variation between the values of 2-seat AMXs and 4-seat Javelin AMXs. Craig Fitzgerald mentioned the satisfaction in owning a car that you don't see every single day, or on the cover of every single magazine, and favored the 2-seater on the grounds of its rarity. But he noted that parts for either car were extremely expensive. In 2006, the editors of Hemmings Muscle Machines magazine said that AMCs had experienced notable value increases over the last few years, especially AMXs. The book Keith Martin's Guide to Car Collecting, in collaboration with the editors of the monthly sports car market, lists the 1970 AMX as one of the picks under $40,000 among 9 muscle car sleepers. Unique versions, such as the California 500 Specials and the 52 Hurst Modified SS AMX drag race cars, are perhaps the most highly sought after by collectors. In 2006, a California 500 AMX sold for $54,000 at the Barrett-Jackson auction in Scottsdale, Arizona. while a regular AMX went for over $55,000 at the Meccan Collector Auction in Belvidere, Illinois. In 2007, Hemmings wrote that only about 39 of the original SS AMX turnkey race cars may have survived. By 2007, the AMX was among the most highly sought AMC cars, and really taking off in the muscle car market. Also in 2007, Hemmings said that the two-seater AMX had a strong following among old car hobbyists and collectors of historic vehicles, and nearly every one of the 19,134 built remains in circulation and in demand, ensuring a good future for the first-generation AMX as a collectible muscle car. The 2007 book, Classic Cars, states that AMC's small and powerful AMX had tire-burning speed, and all have become collector's items, noting the increasing values of the 1968 to 1970 AMXs. Hemmings listed them among the 21 hottest cars that enthusiasts wanted in 2007 and will want tomorrow. In 2008, Hemmings said that buyers had only recently discovered the AMX. They're now snapping them up left and right. Prices are on the rise, though they still represent a relative bargain compared to many more common muscle machines. In 2010, Hemmings' classic car included the two-seat AMXs in the list of 32 best cars to restore in terms of economic sense after factoring purchase price, parts availability, as well as restored value and desirability. Although low in production, the AMX shared parts and components with other AMC models. There are many active AMC car clubs for these cars. Parts, including reproduction components, are available. However, AMC did not build cars in the vast numbers the Big Three did back in the day. Therefore, there are fewer to restore and not as many parts to go around. As of 2010, Hemmings' classic car wrote that the AMXs are pretty basic, so they are not hard to restore, and that reproduction parts are available, and continues to grow with many mechanical parts interchanging with other cars. More valuable, according to automotive historian and author James C. Mays, is the wow factor. His book, The Savvy Guide to Buying Collector Cars at Auction, explains this important and measurable pleasure to an owner, whether their car is driven or sits in a climate-controlled garage, such as a red 1969 AMX that attracts more attention than the more prestigious Ferraris and Lamborghinis. The 100th issue of Hemmings' classic car listed the top 100 American collector cars ever made, as selected by the editors of Hemmings Motor News on the basis of the most popular models among both enthusiasts and collectors, and included the 1968-1969 AMXs for both rarity and high interest, as well as they boast sporting lines, traditional long hood, short deck proportions, and a smattering of performance options to add spice. Old Cars Weekly describes the AMX as an appealing little package for adrenaline junkies and guys who have an appetite for something a little offbeat and different. A car that famed automotive scribe Tom McCahill once described as hairier than a Borneo gorilla. Automotive journalist Patrick George noted the AMC AMX is great vintage American iron, and with only 2 seats, making it more of a sports car than a lot of other muscle cars. Number matching. American Motors did not provide identification on the engine block, known as VIN stamping, as some other car manufacturers had been doing at that time. Other than the actual displacement, there was no way to associate a vehicle with the original, born with engine. Since this was common practice at the GM and Chrysler plants, it is much easier to verify that the exact engine in the car is actually the factory original unit. Each AMC vehicle was inspected to confirm that the engine displacement, identified by numbers cast on the block under the engine mounts, corresponded to its corresponding engine code in the vehicle identification number, VIN. A tag screwed to the valve cover provides an engine's build date, and that date code always preceded a specific car's production sequence. However, there is no engine numbers matching test for AMXs or any other AMC automobiles. As a marketing move for the AMX, AMC affixed a small plate with a number to the center of the dash. 1968-1969. Or to the glove box door. 1970. These are random numbers. They do not coincide with any other identifying number such as the car's VIN code, dealer's own order, production sequence, nor build date. For example, the numbers on the 1970 models ranged from 0144692 to 18584. Scale models. A variety of scale models of the AMX are available, including promotional 1/25th scale model, manufactured under license from AMC by Dohan in factory colors. Hot Wheels offered a 1969 AMX Custom in 1/64 scale, and in 1971 issued the AMX 2 show car model. Newer models in 1/18 scale die-cast were issued, including the Playboy Pink version in the Best of the Best series, as well as the modified Dragon Lady race car. According to the editors of Die-Cast X magazine, muscle cars are the largest, most popular category in die-cast collectors, and they included the AMC AMX among the 34 models that represent the best and most important from the genre, performance and style that are the hallmarks of the high point of American automotive history. See also AMC Javelin AMX 1971 to 1974, AMC Hornet AMX 1977, AMC Concord AMX 1978, AMC Spirit AMX 1979-1980. Footnotes. AMC AMX at the Internet Movie Cars Database. am390.com. am-perience.com. javelinarm.com. AMC Rambler Club. Club for 1958 to 1969 AMCs. American Motors Owners. Club for 1958 to 1987 AMCs.